Imagine a samurai, all grim focus and calloused hands, hunched over a steaming bowl of beans in a dim village hut. It's 14th century Japan, and this isn't dinner, it's training. The air's thick with the earthy funk of boiled legumes clinging to your nose like a bad rumour. He shovels in spoonfuls, each bite a calculated step toward glory in the forest clearing where honour meets, well, gas. These Muromachi warriors, usually slicing through foes with katanas, now wage war on their own guts, bloating their bellies for the farting contest that'll draw every villager within a mile. Think of it as a medieval protein shake gone horribly wrong, except the shake's a pot of beans, and the gym's a battlefield of bowels. The samurai chews deliberately, his jaw tight as if pondering a Zen koan, but his stomach gurgles like a restless demon. Beans, cheap and plentiful, are the secret weapon here. They're not just food, they're ammunition, fermenting in his gut to unleash a sound that could rattle the pines. You'd gag at the thought of what's brewing inside him, a cauldron of pressure building with every swallow. His wife, stirring the pot, mutters about the stench already seeping through the straw walls. For honour, he grunts, as if that explains the culinary torture. Honour? More like a chance to win a wooden sword and the crowd's roaring laughter. Villagers whisper of past champions, men who could make the earth hum with a single blast. This samurai, let's call him Taro, dreams of joining them. He's no novice. He's timed his meals, avoided cabbage, too unpredictable, and practiced holding his breath to control the release. It's discipline, not chaos, he tells himself, though his insides churn like a stormy sea. You can almost hear the beans plotting their escape, each one a tiny grenade of gas. By dusk, Taro's ready, or as ready as anyone can be when their body's a ticking time bomb. The forest awaits, and so does his moment to shine, or stink, like, share, tell us your weirdest meal prep story. Because Taro's got you beat. Step into a Muromachi forest clearing 1370, where the air hums with anticipation, and the pines lean in like nosy neighbours. It's not a battle or a tea ceremony, it's the samurai farting contest, and the whole village is here, sprawled on mats, passing sake and giggling like kids. The ground's damp with morning dew, soaking your sandals, and the mist curls around torches that flicker like they're in on the joke. Samurai, rigid as statues in their patched armour, line up in a semicircle, faces carved from stone despite the absurdity of what's coming. This is their stage, and the crowd's buzzing louder than a summer cicada swarm. Picture a medieval Coachella, but instead of music you're waiting for, well, you know. The first samurai steps forward, Taro from the bean feast, his belt straining against a belly swollen with ambition. You catch a whiff of something sour in the breeze, his warm-up maybe, and the crowd hushes, eyes wide. Villagers clutch their kids, not out of fear but to keep them from rolling on the ground laughing. "Focus," an elder barks, as if this were a duel, not a digestive showdown. The forest feels alive, leaves rustling like they're placing bets. Taro plants his feet, inhales deeply, and you swear the air crackles with tension. Is it honour at stake, or just pride? Either way, the stakes feel higher than a Netflix cliffhanger. A lone crow caws, breaking the silence, and then it happens. A low, rumbling note, like a war drum from Taro's gut echoing off the trees. The crowd erupts, half cheering, half choking on laughter, as the sound lingers like a bad guest. Taro doesn't flinch, his face a mask of samurai grit, but you'd bet his insides are doing a victory dance. The judges, old men with faces like dried persimmons, nod sagely, muttering about resonance. Resonance? It's a fart, not a haiku, but in this clearing it's art. The forest holds its breath for the next contender, and you're hooked, wondering who'll top that opener. Drop a comment. What's the loudest crowd you've ever been in? You're in the thick of a Muromachi forest, 1370, where the air's already sour and the crowd's on edge, waiting for the samurai farting contest to kick into high gear. Taro, our bean-fueled warrior, steps centre stage, his silhouette sharp against the torchlight. His face is all samurai stoicism, eyes narrowed like he's facing a rival swordsman, not his own rebellious gut. You'd think he's about to draw a katana, but no, this battle's all about the blast. The crowd leans in, sack cups forgotten, as Taro squares his shoulders and lets rip a fart so thunderous it could wake a hibernating bear. It's a deep rolling boom, shaking the pines and sending a stray leaf fluttering like it's fleeing the scene. Think of it as a medieval bass drop, only it smells like regret. The sound hits you like a shockwave vibrating through your chest as the villagers explode into cheers, some clapping, others doubled over, gasping between laughs. Taro doesn't crack a smile. Honour's on the line. Or maybe he's just trying not to follow through. You catch the stench now, a warm, earthy cloud that makes your eyes water and your nose beg for mercy. It's not just a fart, it's a statement, a declaration that Taro's been eating beans like a man possessed. The judges, 3 grizzled elders perched on a log, scribble notes with the gravity of court scribes, muttering about timbre and projection. Timbre? It's a fart, not a flute solo, but in this clearing it's high art. A kid in the crowd mimics the sound, earning a smack from his mother, but even she's grinning. Taro steps back, chest heaving, as the crowd chants his name like he's just slain a dragon. You'd swear the forest itself is buzzing, the trees humming with the echo of his triumph, but the contest is young, and other samurai are itching to outdo him. Your stomach twists, not from the smell, but from the sheer absurdity of it all. How did warriors of the blade end up here, turning gas into glory? It's like watching a reality show where the prize is bragging rights and a wooden sword. Like, share, tell us. What's the most ridiculous competition you've ever seen? The forest clearing in 1370 Japan is a riot of noise and sweat, the samurai farting contest turning villagers into a howling mob. Taro's opening blast still lingers in the air, both the sound and the stench, as the crowd surges with energy, like they've just seen a viral TikTok unfold in real time, only smellier. You're wedged between a farmer clutching a sack jug and a giggling teenager, the ground muddy under your feet from spilled drinks and trampled grass. Torches cast wild shadows, making the scene feel half carnival, half ritual, as every eye locks on the next samurai, a wiry man named Kenji, who's rumoured to have eaten beans for a week straight. The anticipation's so thick you can taste it, or maybe that's just the air. Kenji struts forward, his armour creaking and the crowd roars, some shouting bets. 2 coppers on a long one, while others mimic Taro's fart, puffing their cheeks for effect. You'd laugh, but the stench is a physical thing now, coating your throat like a bad meal. A woman nearby fans herself with a straw hat, muttering about warrior nonsense, yet she doesn't look away. When Kenji unleashes his fart, a sharp staccato burst like a firecracker, the crowd loses it. Half scream in delight, half groan at the smell, and a kid tumbles off his father's shoulders cackling. It's chaos, pure and unfiltered, like a medieval mosh pit fueled by bad diets and worse ideas. You catch a glimpse of the judges, stone-faced, as if they're grading poetry, not bodily functions. Villagers start chanting for their favourites, waving makeshift flags of cloth and straw. You're swept up in it, shouting despite yourself, because who knew farts could be this gripping? A brawl nearly breaks out when someone insults Kenji's weak tone, but laughter smothers the tension. This isn't just a contest, it's a release, a moment where peasants and warriors alike forget the wars and taxes of Muromachi life. You'd post this on X with #SamuraiSymphony if you could, because this madness deserves to go viral. Drop a comment. What's the wildest crowd you've ever been part of? You're deep in a Muromachi village, 1370, where a samurai named Kenji stands in a torchlit clearing, his face a mask of focus that had put a Zen monk to shame. This isn't about swinging a sword or staring down a foe. It's about mastering the fart, turning a bodily hiccup into a performance for the ages. Kenji's been at it for weeks, fine-tuning his diet like a chef obsessing over a recipe. Beans? Yes, but not just any beans. Red azuki simmered slow, with a side of barley to keep things predictable. He's avoided onions, too wild, and leeks, too shrill, treating his gut like a finely strung koto. You'd think he's prepping for a duel, not a farting contest, but in this forest, control is king. Picture a medieval sound engineer tweaking dials, except the dials are digestive. Kenji breathes slow, chest rising like he's channeling a mountain spirit, and you can almost hear his insides plotting. The crowd's hushed, villagers clutching their straw mats, waiting for his next note. He's not just blasting for volume, he's aiming for melody, a resonant hum that'll linger in the pines. Last week he practiced in a barn, timing his exhales to match the rhythm of a temple bell. Discipline, not chaos, he mutters. You'd gag at the thought of the barn's air thick with his experiments, but Kenji's all business, his eyes fixed on the judges. The stench is already creeping, a sour fog that makes your nose curl, but to him, it's the scent of victory. This is samurai grit, redirected to the absurd, like a CEO obsessing over a PowerPoint animation. When he lets loose, it's a low, rolling growl like thunder trapped in a cave vibrating through the crowd. They cheer, but Kenji's already analysing, lips twitching as if he's grading himself. Too short? Too sharp? You'd laugh at the intensity, but there's something eerie about it. A warrior's soul poured into a fart. The judges nod, scribbling like they're decoding a scroll, while you're left wondering how this became art. It's like watching someone turn a burp into a symphony, and somehow it works. Like Cher. Tell us, what's the weirdest skill you've ever honed? The Muramachi forest clearing 1370 is alive with torchlight and laughter, the samurai farting contest hitting its stride. You're shoulder to shoulder with villagers, the air heavy with sack fumes and something far less pleasant. Up steps Hiroshi, a burly samurai with a reputation for earth-shaking blasts, his armour gleaming like he's here to conquer, not, well, you know. The crowd's electric, kids perched on parents' shoulders, all eyes on Hiroshi as he plants his feet like a sumo champ. He's been boasting for days, claiming his bean and millet diet could outdo a thunderstorm. You'd bet on him too, with that swagger. Think of a medieval influencer hyping their next big drop, but the forest has other plans. Hiroshi inhales, chest puffing out, and you lean in, expecting a roar to rival Taro's opener. The crowd goes silent, even the crickets holding their breath. Then, nothing. A pitiful squeak, like a mouse caught in a trap, dribbles out, barely stirring the leaves. The silence is deafening, heavier than the stench still lingering from Kenji's turn. Villagers gasp, then groan, a wave of disappointment crashing over the clearing. Hiroshi's face crumples, his samurai pride wilting faster than a cut lotus. You'd feel bad, but the crowd's already jeering, one kid yelling, "My dog's louder!" The judges shake their heads, their quills still, as if Hiroshi's just insulted their ancestors. The air feels sourer now, not from gas, but from failure. He tries again, straining so hard you swear his armour creaks, but all he gets is a weak puff, like a candle snuffed out. The crowd's merciless, tossing straw and shouting for the next contender. Hiroshi slinks back, head low, his dreams of a wooden sword gone with the wind, literally. You can't help but wince, caught between pity and the absurd hilarity of it all. This is Muramachi, Japan, where even farts carry the weight of honour, and flopping feels like a battlefield defeat. It's like bombing a stand-up set, only the stage is a forest and the punchline's your gut. Drop a comment. What's the worst time you've choked under pressure? The Muramachi forest clearing in 1370 is a cauldron of noise and stench, the samurai farting contest turning the night into a bizarre duel of guts. You're pressed against a crowd of villagers, their sake-soaked cheers ringing in your ears as two samurai, Taro and Kenji, face off like rival warlords. Taro, the bean-fueled veteran, stands tall, his eyes glinting with the focus of a hawk. Kenji, wiry and fierce, matches him glare for glare, his gut rumbling like a distant drum. The air's thick with anticipation and the sour tang of earlier blasts coating your throat like a bad brew. This isn't swordplay, it's a battle of farts, and the forest is their arena. Picture two rappers in a medieval mic drop, only the mics are their bowels. Taro goes first, unleashing a deep, resonant boom that rolls through the pines like a war horn, shaking leaves and drawing roars from the crowd. You feel it in your chest, a vibration that's half music, half menace, and the villagers lose it, waving straw fans like they're at a rock concert. Kenji doesn't flinch, though. His turn's next, and he answers with a sharp staccato burst, like a volley of arrows, crisp and piercing. The crowd erupts again, split between loyalties, some chanting Taro's name, others banging sticks for Kenji. You'd choke on the stench, a warm fog of bean-fueled chaos, but you're too caught up, marvelling at how these warriors turn gas into a showdown. The judges, stern as stone Buddhas, scribble furiously, weighing depth against clarity, like it's a philosophical debate. The volleys keep coming, Taro's farts heavy and brooding, Kenji's quick and cutting, each one echoing off the trees like dueling taiko drums. You'd laugh at the absurdity, but there's a strange intensity here. samurai honor wrapped in the ridiculous, like a viral X post with a samurai filter. The crowd sways, drunk on sake and spectacle, as the forest hums with their rivalry. Who'll falter? Who'll claim the wooden sword? Your heart's pounding, caught in the bizarre thrill of it all. Like Cher, tell us what's the fiercest rivalry you've ever witnessed. It's 1370 deep in a Muromachi forest, where the samurai farting contest has reached its climax, and the crowd's roaring like a storm. You're wedged in the throng, the air a swamp of sweat and stench, as Taro stands victorious, his final fart, a low, earth-shaking growl still echoing in the pines. The judges, old men with faces like weathered scrolls, rise from their log, holding a wooden sword aloft, its polished surface catching the torchlight. This isn't just a prize, it's a badge of absurd glory, the kind of thing you'd flaunt like a Grammy for gas. Taro, chest-heaving, keeps his samurai composure, but you'd bet his gut's doing a victory lap. The villagers scream his name, tossing straw into the air like confetti at a medieval Super Bowl. The head judge, voice gravelly, declares Taro's resonance unmatched, as if he's crowning a poet, not a farting champ. You'd roll your eyes, but the crowd's eating it up, kids scrambling to touch the sword as it's handed over. It's a ceremonial moment, weirdly formal, with Taro bowing low, his armour creaking while the stench of his triumph lingers like a bad guest. You catch a whiff, sharp, earthy, like a barn left to fester, and your nose begs for mercy. Yet there's something epic here, a warrior's discipline bent to the bizarre, like winning an Oscar for a prank video. The sword's no katana, but in this clearing it's mightier, a symbol of surviving the bean-fueled gauntlet. Villagers swarm Taro, slapping his back while Kenji skulks away, already plotting next year's diet. You're swept up in the chaos, marvelling at how a fart could spark such pomp. The forest feels alive, buzzing with the night's madness, and you can't help but grin at the sheer lunacy of it all. This is Muromachi, Japan, where even the ridiculous gets a hero's parade. Drop a comment. What's the strangest trophy you've ever seen someone win? The Muromachi forest clearing in 1370 is a madhouse, the samurai farting contest spiralling into glorious bedlam. You're caught in a sea of villagers, their cheers and jeers blending with the sour stink of bean-fueled warfare. Torches sputter, casting wild shadows as a samurai named Jiro, lanky and overconfident, strides to the centre. He's got a swagger like he's already won, but his gut's got other plans. Mid-stride, he trips over a root, arms flailing like a drunk crane, and lets out a fart, a high-pitched squeal that sounds like a cat in distress. The crowd roars with laughter, kids howling, sake jugs spilling as they point. It's like a medieval blooper reel, and Jiro's the star, his face burning redder than the torches. You'd wince for him, but the chaos is infectious. A villager mimics Jiro's squeak, sparking a wave of copycats, while another samurai, impatient, cuts in with a booming blast that shakes the ground. The crowd swings from mockery to awe, their shouts drowning out the crickets. You're choking on the air now, a thick stew of sweat and stench that clings like damp cloth. Someone tosses a straw mat into the air, and it lands on a judge, who swats it away with a scowl. Jiro scrambles to his feet, trying for a comeback, but his next fart's a sad puff, barely a whisper. The crowd's merciless chanting, "Next, next," like they're at a gladiator match gone wrong. This is Muromachi madness, where a misstep and a misfire turn warriors into clowns. The forest pulses with the night's absurdity, every fart a gamble, every laugh a release. You're swept up, grinning despite the smell, because this is humanity unfiltered. Samurai or not, everyone's at the mercy of their gut. It's like a live-streamed fail compilation, only the comments section is a mob of drunken peasants. Like Cher, tell us, what's the funniest flub you've ever seen in a competition? It's 1370, and the Muromachi forest clearing is a haze of torchlight and fumes, the samurai farting contest in full swing. You're wedged among villagers, your eyes watering. Not from emotion, but from the stench that settled like a fog over the crowd. It's not just a smell, it's a presence, a warm, earthy cloud of bean-driven chaos that coats your throat and stings your nose. Imagine walking into a gym locker room after a chilly cook-off, then multiplying it by 100. The farts have piled up, each samurai's blast adding to the miasma, and the pines seem to droop under the weight of it all. You'd fan yourself, but the air's too thick, like breathing soup. Oda Samurai, anyone? The crowd's still buzzing, but some are grimacing now, holding sleeves to their faces as they cheer. A kid gags, earning a laugh from his father, while a woman mutters about needing a bath for a week. Yet no one leaves. This is the main event, and the stench is just part of the ticket. The latest samurai, a burly man named Goro, steps up, his fart a low rumble that adds another layer to the fog. You swear you see a judge flinch, his quill pausing as the smell hits like a physical blow. They're still scribbling though, rating sustain and impact, as if this were a wine tasting gone horribly wrong. You'd marvel at their grit, but you're too busy trying not to breathe too deeply. The contest rolls on, but the smell's the real champion, uniting the crowd in shared suffering. It's a reminder that samurai, for all their katanas and codes, are just humans with overworked guts. You can't help but chuckle at the absurdity. Honour, pride and a wooden sword, all drowned in a cloud of gas. This is Muromachi, Japan, where even the air tells a story of ridiculous ambition. Drop a comment. What's the worst smell you've ever endured for a good time? The Muromachi forest clearing in 1370 buzzes with the raw energy of the samurai farting contest, and you're caught in the crowd's fever, the air a sour stew of beans and ambition. A new figure steps into the torchlight, a young samurai named Saburo, barely 20, his armour patched and his face a mix of nerves and fire. He's no Taro or Kenji, no veteran with a gut honed by years of practice, but the villagers lean forward, drawn to his audacity. His hands tremble as he adjusts his belt, yet his eyes burn with the kind of defiance you'd see in a kid facing a bully. He's been scarfing beans for days, his mother fretting over his bloated belly. But Saburo's here to prove something. Think of him as the underdog in a medieval talent show, ready to steal the stage or crash spectacularly. You can almost feel his heart pounding as he steps up, the crowd's cheers laced with curiosity. Will he flop like Hiroshi or soar like Taro? Saburo's been practicing in secret, squatting in a rice field to time his blasts, whispering to himself about control, like it's a samurai code. The stench from earlier farts clings to the air, making your nose wrinkle, but Saburo doesn't flinch. He plants his feet, inhales, and lets out a fart, a clear, resonant hum, not thunderous but steady, like a temple bell's echo. The crowd gasps, then roars, kids clapping as if he's just slain a demon. It's not the loudest, but it's bold, and you'd swear the pines sway in approval. The judges, stern as ever, jot notes, one muttering about promise. You feel a pang of pride for the kid, chasing glory in the weirdest way possible, like a rookie streamer going viral on his first try. Saburo steps back, chest heaving, a shy grin breaking through his nerves. The crowd's chanting his name now, and you're rooting for him, caught up in the bizarre hope of this moment. This is Muromachi, Japan, where even a young nobody can make the forest sing with his gut. Like, share. Tell us, what's the bravest underdog moment you've ever seen? Night has swallowed the Muromachi forest in 1370, and the samurai farting contest burns on under a sky pricked with stars. You're in the thick of the crowd, the ground muddy under your sandals, as torches cast long, flickering shadows that dance like ghosts across the pines. The air's a heavy fog of stench, beans, sweat and sake, clinging to your skin like a second robe. The contest has taken on an eerie edge now, the darkness amplifying every sound, every fart a jolt in the night. Villagers huddle closer, their laughter tinged with a strange awe, as if the forest itself is watching. It's like a midnight rave gone medieval, where the beats come from samurai guts, and the vibe teeters between absurd and uncanny. A samurai named Goro steps up, his silhouette hulking against the torchlight, and the crowd quiets, sensing the shift. His fart rumbles out, a deep, guttural roar that seems to shake the earth, echoing like a warning from the mountains. You feel it in your bones, a sound that's less music and more primal, and the villagers gasp, some clutching their kids. The torches flicker, as if startled, and for a moment you'd swear the forest holds its breath. The stench hits next, a wave so thick it's like wading through a swamp, and you gag, your eyes watering. The judges, faces carved from stone, nod slowly, their quills scratching in the dark. This isn't just a contest anymore, it's a ritual, a bizarre communion of human folly under the stars. The crowd's cheers are wilder now, fueled by the night's strange magic, and you're caught in it, your pulse racing despite the smell. Goro's blast lingers, a reminder that even in Muromachi, Japan, the line between ridiculous and epic is razor thin. You'd post this on X with night farts if you could, because this moment's too surreal to keep quiet. Drop a comment. What's the eeriest nighttime event you've ever been part of? The Muromachi forest clearing in 1370 is a haze of torchlight and stench, the samurai farting contest winding toward its peak. You're packed in with villagers, the air so thick with bean-fueled fumes it's like breathing through a wet rag. The crowd's restless, buzzing from Goro's earth-shaking blast, but all eyes are on the judges now. 3 elders perched on a gnarled log, their faces like weathered stone, quills poised over scraps of paper. They're not just old men, they're the arbiters of this absurd art, weighing each fart like it's a haiku or a battle strategy. You'd think they're debating life and death, not gas, but in this clearing, resonance and clarity are the currency of glory. It's like a medieval version of American Idol, except the talents, well, intestinal. The head judge, a wiry man with a beard like tangled vines, stands, silencing the crowd with a raised hand. He drones on about sustain and harmonic depth, as if he's critiquing a koto performance. You catch words like Taro's robust cadence and Saburo's promising tone, and you'd laugh if the crowd weren't hanging on every syllable. The stench still lingers, a sour cloud that makes your eyes sting, but the judges seem immune, their noses somehow surviving this olfactory battlefield. They confer, heads bent, pointing at their notes like scholars decoding a sutra. The crowd leans in, kids hushed, sack jugs forgotten as the verdict looms. You'd swear the forest itself is listening, the pines holding their breath. Finally, the judge declares Taro the frontrunner, his unyielding force unmatched, but Saburo's youthful precision earns a nod. The crowd erupts, half cheering, half arguing, as if this were a shogun's decree. You're caught up in the madness, marvelling at how seriously everyone takes this farce, like a Reddit thread debating the best meme, but with higher stakes and worse smells. This is Muromachi, Japan, where even a fart gets a courtroom drama. Like, share. Tell us, what's the most over-the-top judging you've ever seen? It's 1370, and the Muromachi forest clearing pulses with the raw thrill of the samurai farting contest. The night alive with cheers and torchlight. You're in the thick of the crowd, the air a choking mix of sweat and bean-driven stench, as Taro, the grizzled samurai, stands tall after the judge's verdict. His latest fart, a deep, rolling thunder that shook the earth, has sealed his lead, and the villagers are losing their minds, shouting his name like he's just felled a warlord. Taro's no young Saburo. His face is scarred, his armour worn, but his gut's a weapon forged by years of discipline and dubious diets. You'd think he's holding a katana, not a belly full of gas, but in this moment, he's a king. Picture a rock star owning the stage, except the encore's a blast that could wake the dead. Taro steps forward, bowing slightly, his expression a mix of pride and grim focus, as if he's just won a duel, not a fart-off. The crowd surges, kids scrambling to get closer, while a woman waves a straw fan like it's a victory flag. You feel the ground vibrate from their stomping, the forest humming with their adulation. The stench is brutal, sharp, earthy, like a barn left to rot. But it's Taro's badge of honour, proof of his mastery. He's been at this for years, tweaking his bean intake, timing his breaths like a swordsman's strikes. The judges hand him a wooden sword, a mock trophy that gleams in the torchlight, and you'd swear it's Excalibur for how the crowd roars. It's like watching a chef win a Michelin star for a dish no one dares taste. You're grinning despite the smell, caught in the bizarre glory of Taro's triumph. This is Muromachi, Japan, where a veteran can turn a fart into a legend, and the forest sings his name. Saburo claps from the sidelines, respect in his eyes, while you marvel at the sheer audacity of it all. It's like a viral YouTube clip looped forever in the crowd's memory. Drop a comment. What's the most epic comeback you've seen someone pull off? The Muromachi forest clearing in 1370 is a riot of torchlight and cheers, the samurai farting contest crowning Taro as its hero. You're pressed against the sweaty crowd, the air a sour haze of bean-fueled chaos, when a lone figure shuffles into view. Kenji, the wiry samurai who fell short. His final fart, a weak sputter, couldn't match Taro's thunder, and now he faces the loser's walk, head high but eyes burning with shame. The crowd's jeers hit like arrows, kids mimicking his feeble blast with puffed cheeks, while a farmer shouts, "Back to the beans, Kenji!" You'd wince for him, but the stench still clings to your nose, a reminder of the battle he lost. It's like bombing a TED Talk in front of a live audience, except the stage is a forest and the flop is, well, gaseous. Kenji's armour clinks as he moves, each step deliberate, his jaw tight as if defying the mockery. He's no novice. Years of training, of perfecting his diet, all for this moment that slipped away. The torchlight catches the sweat on his brow, and you catch a glimpse of something raw. Pride, yes, but also defiance, the kind that promises a comeback. The crowd's laughter fades as he reaches the clearing's edge, some villagers clapping now, respecting the grit it takes to walk away. You feel the weight of it, the samurai code twisted into this absurd arena, where failure stings as sharp as a blade. The forest seems to watch, its pines whispering as Kenji vanishes into the dark. This is Muromachi, Japan, where even a farting flop carries the weight of honour. Like Cher. Tell us, what's the toughest time you had to walk away from a loss? Dawn creeps over the Muromachi village in 1370. The samurai farting contest a fading echo in the forest, but the air still hums with chatter. You're weaving through the muddy paths, past rice paddies and straw-roofed huts, where villagers cluster like bees, buzzing about last night's spectacle. The stench lingers faintly, a sour ghost of Taro's triumph, but it's the gossip that's alive, spreading faster than a wildfire. A woman hauling water mimics Saburo's clear hum, giggling, while a farmer brags he could have outdone Kenji's flop. You'd think they're recounting a battle, not a fart fest, but in this village, it's the stuff of legend. Picture medieval Twitter exploding, #samurai fart trending with every retold blast. At the market, a fishmonger waves his knife, claiming Taro's final fart shook his stall a mile away, while kids run past, puffing their cheeks to ape Goro's rumble. You catch snippets, tales of Jiro's tripping squeak, the judge's solemn nods, Saburo's gutsy debut, each story growing wilder, like a game of telephone gone rogue. The air's thick with laughter and exaggeration, but there's pride too in this weird communal ritual. A grandmother weaving straw mutters about the old days when farts were quieter, and you grin, caught in the infectious buzz. The contest's over, but it's alive in every retelling, binding the village in shared absurdity. This is Muromachi, Japan, where a night of gas becomes a saga for the ages. Drop a comment. What's the juiciest gossip you've ever heard spread like wildfire? The Muromachi village in 1370 hums with the afterglow of the samurai farting contest, and you're standing by a bamboo grove, the morning air still tinged with the faint ghost of last night's stench. The contest wasn't just a spectacle, it was a strange mirror of the samurai code, Bushido twisted into something absurd yet oddly fitting. These warriors, bound by honour and steel, poured the same discipline into their farts as they did their swordplay. You picture Taro, his face carved from grit, treating each blast like a kata, precise and deliberate, or Saburo, the young contender, risking shame for a shot at glory. It's like watching a CEO apply boardroom tactics to a pie-eating contest, ridiculous but deadly serious. Discipline defined them. Samurai like Kenji spent weeks honing their diets, azuki beans for power, barley for control, measuring every bite like alchemists. They trained their breath, their stance, even their mindset, as if a fart could carry the weight of their soul. You'd laugh, but there's something eerie in it, the way they bent their warrior ethos to this crude art. The crowd saw it too, cheering not just for the noise but for the sheer will behind it. In a world of war and rice taxes, this was their defiance, a middle finger to the grimness of Muromachi life. The forest clearing became their dojo, each fart a strike against the ordinary. You feel a strange respect caught in the paradox, honour in the absurd like a viral meme with a samurai's gravitas. This is Japan in 1370, where the samurai code stretched to embrace even the lowliest act, turning gas into a testament of human spirit. You'd post this on X with #BushidoFarts, because it's too wild not to share. Like, share? Tell us, what's the weirdest way you've seen someone show discipline? It's a quiet evening in a Muromachi village, 1370. The samurai farting contest a fresh memory. its echoes still rippling through the rice paddies. You're near a small hut, its straw roof glowing under the moon, where Kenji, the defeated samurai, sits alone, his armour stacked in a corner. His weak fart, a pitiful squeak in the forest clearing, still stings like a wound. The crowd's jeers burned into his mind. But Kenji's not done. His eyes gleam with the kind of fire you'd see in a warrior plotting a comeback. He's scheming revenge, not with a blade, but with beans, millet, and a stubborn gut. Think of him as an athlete banned from the Olympics, tweaking his training for a shot at redemption. Kenji's up before dawn, boiling red beans with a precision that'd shame a tea master, adding dried plums for an edge. Risky, but he's desperate. You'd gag at the bubbling pot, its earthy steam curling like a warning, but to Kenji, it's ammunition. He's been testing his farts in a nearby field, timing each blast to the rhythm of a temple gong, aiming for depth and sustain. The villagers don't know yet, but he's planning for next year's contest, whispering to himself about Taro's fall. The air around him feels charged, not with stench, but with resolve, the kind that turns losers into legends. You can almost hear his gut rumbling, a low growl of promise, as the moon watches his quiet rebellion. Kenji's revenge is a samurai's vow, cloaked in the absurd but no less fierce. In Muromachi, Japan, even a fart can fuel a vendetta, and you're hooked, wondering if he'll shake the forest next time. It's like a Netflix cliffhanger, leaving you itching for the rematch. Drop a comment. What's the most epic comeback plan you've ever heard of? The Muromachi forest in 1370 is cloaked in the deep hush of midnight, the samurai farting contest drawing to its close. You stand among the dwindling crowd, the torchlight fading to embers, the air still heavy with the sour ghost of countless blasts. The final farts have rung out. Taro's thunder, Saburo's clear hum, Goro's primal roar, and now they fade into the pines, like ripples on a dark pond. You feel the forest exhale, its branches swaying as if whispering the night's madness back to itself. The villagers, hoarse from cheering, gather their mats, their laughter softening into murmurs, but the clearing feels alive, haunted by the echoes of this bizarre ritual. It's like the end of a wild festival, the kind you'd live stream with #EpicFartFinale, where the silence hits harder than the noise. You catch the last whiff of the contest's stench, a lingering funk that clings to your robes like a memory. The judges pack their quills, their stern faces softened by the absurdity they've just overseen. A kid mimics one last fart, a faint puff that draws a chuckle, but the energy's shifting, reflective, almost solemn. The samurai, winners and losers alike, slip into the shadows, their armour glinting faintly, their guts finally at rest. You're left with a strange awe, not for the farts, but for what they meant. A moment where warriors and peasants defied the grim weight of Muromachi life, turning the body's chaos into art. The forest keeps their secret. Its echoes a quiet hymn to human oddity. Like Cher, tell us, what's the most unforgettable moment you felt linger after a wild night? Morning breaks over the Muromachi village in 1370. The samurai farting contest now a story etched into the village's soul. You're walking past rice paddies, the air fresh, but still carrying a faint memory of that bean-fueled night. The contest wasn't just a lark. It's become a legacy, a tale villagers will spin for years, growing wilder with each telling. Taro's thunderous blasts, Saburo's bold debut, Kenji's vow for revenge, they're folklore now, as much a part of this place as samurai battles or harvest festivals. You hear a farmer chuckle, recounting Jiro's squeaky flop, and you grin, knowing these farts have outlived the forest's echoes. It's like a viral video stuck in the cultural cache, replayed at every village fire. This legacy isn't just about noise or stench, it's about humanity's knack for finding joy in the absurd. In a Muromachi world of war and duty, the contest was a rebellion, a way for samurai to trade katanas for laughter, for peasants to cheer their heroes in a game no lord could tax. You picture Taro's wooden sword propped in his hut, a goofy relic of glory, or Kenji, still boiling beans for next year's shot. The contest showed what binds us, the drive to push limits, to laugh at our flaws, to make art from the ridiculous. You'd tag this hashtag Legacy of Gas on X because it's a story that sticks, proof that even farts can carve a mark on history. Drop a comment. What's the strangest tradition you've seen live on in stories? It's 1750, and you're drifting along the Sumida River in Edo, where the night hums with secrets, and the water reflects 1,000 flickering lanterns. These aren't just boats, they're floating palaces, pleasure barges where silk-clad courtesans ply their trade under a moon that seems to wink at the chaos. The air's thick with the scent of sake, jasmine, and the faint musk of river mud, clinging to your skin like a whispered rumour. Each vessel glows, its paper lanterns swaying, casting golden ripples that dance like ghosts on the current. You'd think you're in a dream, but the laughter and drunken shouts from the boats snap you back. This is Edo's nightlife, a mix of elegance and excess, like a floating Vegas strip with kimonos instead of neon. You're close enough to see the details: carved railings, silk curtains fluttering, a shamisen twang cutting through the lapping waves. The courtesans, faces powdered white, move with a grace that hides their labour, rowing these heavy boats while entertaining rowdy patrons. One lantern flickers, then dims, and a chill runs through you. Village gossip whispers of spirits haunting these waters, snuffing lights without a breeze. The crowd on the riverbank gawks, pointing at the boats like they're watching a parade. But you sense the edge here, the thin line between revelry and ruin. One wrong move, and someone's in the river, or worse, caught in whatever lingers when the lanterns go dark. This is Edo, Japan, where beauty and danger drift side by side. Like Cher, tell us, what's the most dazzling yet eerie place you've ever seen? You're aboard a pleasure boat on the Sumida River, 1750, the wooden deck creaking under your feet as a courtesan named Hana performs in the lantern's glow. Her kimono, a cascade of crimson silk, shimmers as she moves, each step a delicate balance between art and endurance. The air's heavy with sack fumes and the river's damp chill, but Hana's smile never falters, even as she grips an oar to steady the boat against the current. Her fan flutters like a butterfly, weaving a dance that captivates the drunken merchants sprawled on cushions, their cheers slurring into leers. You'd think she's a goddess, but her arms ache from rowing, her grace a mask for the grind. It's like watching a pop star nail a performance while secretly wrestling stage equipment. The shamisen player strums a haunting tune, and Hana spins, her movements hypnotic, but you notice her glance at the water, wary, as if the river might swallow them all. A patron, red-faced and swaying, lunges to grab her sleeve, and the boat tilts, sack cups sliding. Hana sidesteps with a laugh, diffusing the moment, but you catch the steel in her eyes. She's navigating more than the river. The crowd on the bank hoots, mistaking her poise for play, oblivious to the strength it takes to charm and steer through this chaos. A lantern sways, casting shadows that flicker like spectres, and you recall the tales of boats cursed to drift forever. This is Edo, Japan, where a courtesan's dance is a tightrope walk over beauty and peril. Drop a comment. What's the toughest performance you've seen someone pull off under pressure? It's 1750, and you're on a pleasure boat gliding down the Sumida River, the lantern-lit deck swaying under the weight of drunken revelry. The air's a heady mix of sake, perfume, and the river's muddy tang, while a courtesan's shamisen hums like a siren's call. A merchant, face flushed red as his kimono, stumbles to his feet, sloshing his cup and shouting for another dance. He's had too much, his swagger more stumble than strut, and you see it coming before he does. One lurching step, then another, and he's over the edge, splashing into the dark water with a yelp that cuts the night. The boat erupts in laughter, courtesans covering their painted smiles, while the riverbank crowd roars like they're watching a comedy special gone live. Picture a frat party on a yacht, but with silk robes and worse consequences. The merchant flails, his silk sleeves billowing like soggy flags, as the current drags him a few feet before a rower tosses a rope. He's hauled back, dripping and cursing, his pride more bruised than his body. You'd feel bad, but the courtesans are already joking, one calling him the river's new guest, her voice sharp with sarcasm. The boat rocks, lanterns swaying, and you catch the glint of water under moonlight. Beautiful, but unforgiving. These plunges are common, a hazard of Edo's floating nightlife where excess meets gravity. The man slumps on the deck, shivering, while the party rolls on, unbothered. This is Edo, Japan, where a dip in the Sumida is just another story for the sake bar, until the lanterns flicker, hinting at darker tales, like Share, tell us, what's the funniest fall you've seen someone take? The Sumida River in 1750 is a ribbon of black under a starry Edo sky, your pleasure boat drifting through a glow of lanterns that flicker like wary eyes. The air's thick with the scent of jasmine and river mud, but there's a chill now, cutting through the sack-fueled warmth. The courtesan's laughter fades as a lantern dims without a breeze, its paper frame rattling softly, and you feel a prickle on your neck. Villagers on the bank whisper of spirits, lost souls of drowned patrons or jilted lovers, said to haunt these floating brothels, snuffing lights and stirring the water. You'd scoff, but the boat feels heavier, the current tugging like an unseen hand. It's like cruising through a haunted Airbnb listing, where the 5-star view comes with a ghostly catch. A courtesan, her kimono a pale shimmer, pauses mid-song, her eyes darting to the darkened lantern. The patrons, drunk and oblivious, keep shouting for more sake, but you notice the rowers exchange glances, their oars dipping slower. The river's surface ripples, not from wind but something deeper, and a low hum, like a distant moan, seems to rise from the water. No one speaks of it, but the stories are old, boats that drift off course, lights that die, voices calling from the depths. You grip the railing, the wood cold under your fingers, and wonder if the next splash will be yours. This is Edo, Japan, where romance and danger share the same deck, and the river keeps its secrets. Drop a comment. What's the creepiest vibe you've ever felt in a supposedly fun place? You're aboard a pleasure boat on the Sumida River, 1750, the deck swaying under the weight of drunken patrons and their sloshing sake cups. The lanterns cast a warm glow, but your eyes are on a courtesan named Yuki, her kimono a faded blue that catches the moonlight. She's not dancing now, she's rowing, her slender arms straining against the oar as the river fights back, its current a stubborn beast. Her face, powdered white, hides the sweat beading beneath, but you see the tension in her jaw, the way her shoulders ache with every pull. These women aren't just entertainers, they're the engine of this floating brothel, keeping it afloat while patrons leer and sing off-key. It's like watching a barista juggle espresso shots while performing stand-up for a rowdy crowd. The air's thick with river damp and the sweet sting of perfume, but Yuki's world is the oars creak and the water's relentless tug. A merchant shouts for her to smile, oblivious to the calluses on her hands, the burn in her muscles from hours of rowing. She laughs, sharp and practiced, but you catch her glance at the dark water, where ripples hint at unseen depths. The boat lurches as a patron stumbles, and Yuki adjusts, steadying the craft with a strength that belies her delicate frame. You'd marvel at her grit, but there's no pause for applause. Another oar stroke, another forced smile. This is Edo, Japan, where beauty masks back-breaking labour, and the river demands as much as the men. Like, Share. Tell us, what's the hardest job you've seen done with a smile? The Sumida River in 1750 is a glittering stage, your pleasure boat a chaotic swirl of silk, sake, and shamisen strings under a star-strewn sky. The deck groans as patrons, merchants, samurai and wandering poets sprawl across cushions, their laughter slurring into shouts. The air's a heady mix of jasmine, spilled liquor, and the river's earthy musk, thick enough to choke on. A courtesan strums her shamisen, her notes sharp and wild, fueling the frenzy as men clink cups and demand another song. The boat tilts dangerously, water slapping the sides, and you grip the railing, half expecting the whole thing to capsize. It's like a floating rave gone off the rails, with kimonos instead of glow sticks and a vibe that's one spilled sack away from disaster. A merchant, face red as a persimmon, tries to dance, his feet tangling in his robe as he nearly topples into the river. The courtesans laugh, their voices cutting through the chaos, but their eyes dart to the oars, keeping the boat steady. A lantern sways, casting shadows that twist like spectres, and you recall the whispers of haunted waters, though the party's too loud for fear. Cups clatter, a tray of fish skewers spills, and someone's singing a love song so off-key it's practically a war cry. You're caught in the madness. your pulse racing as the boat rocks harder, the river waiting like a patient predator. This is Edo, Japan, where excess is the currency of the night and every laugh teeters on the edge of ruin. Drop a comment. What's the wildest party you've ever survived? The Sumida River in 1750 is a dark mirror under Edo's night sky, your pleasure boat gliding through a hush that's settled after hours of revelry. The lanterns flicker, their glow dimming as if weary, and the air carries the fading scent of sake and the river's deep, earthy chill. You lean against the railing, the wood slick under your fingers, and feel the weight of the water's pull, its surface rippling with secrets no one dares name. Villagers whisper of lost souls, patrons who fell and never resurfaced, courtiers whose oars stilled forever, haunting these boats, their sighs woven into the current's hum. You'd brush it off as tavern talk, but a lantern gutters out, and the darkness feels alive, like a Reddit thread about cursed places you can't stop scrolling. A rower, her kimono frayed at the hem, pauses, her eyes scanning the water where shadows twist like eels. The remaining patrons, slumped and half-drunk, don't notice, but you catch her tense grip on the oar, as if bracing for something to rise. Tales speak of boats drifting off course, guided by unseen hands, or lights vanishing with a moan no one can place. The shamisen last note lingers, sharp and lonely, and you swear the river murmurs back, a low sound that prickles your skin. No one speaks, but the fear's there, shared in glances among the crew. This is Edo, Japan, where the line between party and peril blurs, and the river holds stories it won't tell. Like, share. Tell us. What's the creepiest unexplained thing you've felt in the dark? Dawn breaks over the Sumida River in 1750, painting the water gold as your pleasure boat docks, its lanterns dim and its deck littered with spilled sake and forgotten fans. You're exhausted. The night's chaos, drunken plunges, ghostly whispers, and courtesans' tireless dances, still buzzing in your veins. The air's lighter now, the river's musk softened by morning dew, but the women who rode this floating brothel stand defiant, their kimonos creased, their faces weary yet unbowed. They tie the boat to the pier, hands calloused from oars, ignoring the snores of patrons sprawled like fallen warriors. You'd think they're broken by the grind, but there's steel in their eyes, a resilience that outshines the fading stars. It's like watching gig workers wrap a brutal shift, still cracking jokes despite the ache. The riverbank stirs, villagers greeting the dawn with yawns and gossip about last night's antics, a merchant splash, a lantern's eerie flicker. The courtesans, like Yuki, gather their things, their laughter sharp as they trade stories of dodging lecherous hands or steadying the boat. You feel their strength, a quiet fire that kept this vessel afloat through excess and danger. The river laps gently now, its secrets buried in the daylight, but you know it'll call them back tonight, oars and all. This is Edo, Japan, where survival wears a painted smile, and the dawn reflects not just light, but the grit of those who row on. Drop a comment. What's the toughest night you've powered through with sheer will? It's 1400, and you're in a dim Muromachi workshop, the air thick with the scent of cedar shavings and incense, where a craftsman named Kenta carves a no mask under a flickering oil lamp. His blade moves with a priest's precision, each cut coaxing a face from the wood, a woman's serene gaze, lips parted as if whispering secrets. The shavings curl like ghosts at his feet, and you feel a chill, not from the draught, but from the belief that this mask will hold a spirit, a soul trapped in its grain. Villagers say Kenta's masks breathe, channeling gods or demons for the no stage, and you dismiss it. But the wood seems to hum under his knife. It's like watching a coder craft an AI that might just wake up, the line between art and life blurring in the shadows. Kenta pauses, muttering a prayer to appease the spirit he's shaping, his hands steady but his eyes wary, as if the mask might turn and meet his gaze. The air grows heavier, incense smoke curling like a warning, and you notice the silence. No birds, no wind, just the scrape of blade on wood. Each stroke deepens the mask's eyes, hollows that feel like they're watching you back. In Muromachi, Japan, this isn't just art, it's a ritual, a dance with the divine that could go wrong with one wrong cut. You're caught in the spell, your pulse quickening as the mask takes form, its presence more alive than the cedar it came from. Like Cher. Tell us, what's the creepiest thing you've seen someone create with their hands? You're in a Muromachi shrine in 1400, the air heavy with incense and the faint creak of a wooden stage, where a No actor named Ryo prepares to become something more than human. He lifts a carved mask, its eyes hollow, its lips frozen in a ghostly smile, and you feel the room shift, as if the air itself holds its breath. As he ties it on, his movements slow, his body sinking into a trance, like he's slipping into another's skin. The mask isn't just wood, it's a vessel, rumoured to carry the spirit of a grieving widow or a vengeful god, and Ryo's eyes, visible through the slits, seem to flicker with something not his own. It's like watching a VR headset pull someone into a world you can't see, except this one might not let go. The shrine's silence is oppressive, broken only by the rustle of Ryo's silk robes and the soft chant of a priest nearby, warding off any spirits that linger too close. You'd swear the mask moves, its expression shifting as Ryo breathes, his body swaying like a puppet on unseen strings. He's trained for years to merge with the mask, to let its soul guide his steps, but the cost is clear. Sweat beads on his neck, his breath shallow, as if he's wrestling something alive. In Muromachi, Japan, this is no mere performance. It's a communion, a risk that could leave him lost between worlds. You're frozen, caught in the eerie rhythm of his trance, wondering if he'll emerge as Ryo or something else. Drop a comment. What's the most intense moment you've felt someone lose themselves in their craft? It's 1400, and you're in a Muromachi shrine, the air thick with incense and the weight of unseen eyes, as a No stage comes alive under a single lantern's glow. The wooden platform creaks, its polished surface reflecting the flicker like a still pond, and the actor, masked as a vengeful spirit, steps forward with agonizing slowness. Each movement, a tilt of the head, a hand raised like a claw, feels like it's pulling time itself into a trance. The mask's carved eyes, hollow yet searing, seem to lock onto you, and the air grows heavy, as if the shrine's gods are leaning in. It's like stepping into a haunted VR simulation, where every gesture hums with a power you can't quite grasp. The flute's wail cuts the silence, sharp and mournful, joined by a drum's slow pulse, and you feel your heartbeat sink to their rhythm. The actor's silk robes rustle, a whisper against the stillness, as he embodies a tale of betrayal or loss. Nobody speaks, but the story seeps into your bones. The audience, nobles and villagers alike, sits frozen, their breaths shallow, afraid to stir the air. In Muromachi, Japan, this stage is a bridge to the divine, where a wrong move could anger spirits or wake something older. You're mesmerized, your skin prickling as the mask's gaze sweeps the crowd, its wooden lips frozen but somehow alive. This is no play. It's a ritual, and you're caught in its spell. Like, Cher? Tell us, what's the most hypnotic performance you've ever witnessed? You're seated in a Muromachi shrine in 1400. The No stage before you, a shadowed altar where an actor, masked as a grieving demon, moves like a spectre through molasses. The air's thick with incense and fear. Every spectator, nobles in silk, peasants in patched robes, locked in a silent pact not to move, not to cough, not to breathe too loud. You feel it too, the dread that a single sound could shatter the ritual, angering the spirits said to inhabit the mask. The actor's steps are deliberate, each one a pulse that tightens your chest, and the mask's hollow eyes seem to scan the crowd, pausing as if it sees you. It's like sitting through a horror movie where you're afraid to crunch your popcorn except the stakes feel like divine wrath. The flute's wail rises sharp as a knife, and you notice a woman beside you clutch her sleeve, her knuckles white, terrified of disrupting the sacred rhythm. In Muromachi, Japan, No isn't just theatre. It's a communion with gods and ghosts, where a misstep could curse the room. You hear tales of audiences struck ill for sneezing, or actors collapsing under the mask's weight, their sacrifice revered. Your throat itches, but you swallow hard, the silence a chain binding you to the crowd. The actor turns, his mask gleaming under the lantern, and you swear it whispers, a sound only you hear. This is the dread of No, where awe and terror intertwine, holding you captive in a moment that feels eternal. Drop a comment. What's the most nerve-wracking silence you've ever endured? In a Muromachi shrine in 1400,